That has happened a few times. Yeah, what's your name, Tony? What's the numbers?
Tony P 979
P9. Or is it Tony P? Tony P
79.
79.
Yep, that one.
Okay. Gold 4. Okay, so what's your goal for the season?
Uh, I always get gold. I've been plat a couple times. I just never really pushed beyond that because I typically only like to play with flex fives instead of duo.
Hmm.
But I feel like if I really tried, I can get up to diamond. So that's what my goal is this season.
Okay.
And I have a second account that I take probably more seriously. You could look at that one after you look at this one.
Okay, I mean, it's fine. I think this is fairly serious. You're playing kind of mid and jungle. Is that something you do, or it's like is jungle your main role, or is it mid? Or...
I would say jungle's my main. I have like 500,000 mastery on amumu and Malzahar.
Okay,
So
so
I
you can kind
do
of switch
both
between.
depending on what people need. But when I do flex fives, I always jungle.
Okay, yep. So for the jungle, we are mostly playing a Mumu, really good. Mumu,
Yep,
Volibear, Sejuani. Yep, I mean, I love this pool. So this is your main pool. I really love this. So the reason why I love this pool is because they kind of fall into the same identity. So when we talk about champion pools, for example, let's say code 4, is this an Amumu? What is an Amumu? What? Okay, so when we talk about champion pools, so there are kind of two approaches to champion pool. You can either have a carry pick, let's say, or AD pick, let's say AD pick, AP pick, and tank. So this is kind of the basic idea behind champion pool. But the other thing you can do is you have something called champion identities, like what the champion wants to do. And when we play these kind of Amumu, Volibear, sejuani, these are ganking junglers. They want to gank, they want to tank, they want to be the enablers for the team. So champion identity uh, with your pool is to gank, enable. Uh, what's the word when you want to stop something from happening? I'm not sure. Uh, but yeah, basically, you want to do all of these champions love to do the same thing. They want to gank, they want to enable, they want to be the tank guy. That's what you want to do in the team fight. That's your role within the role. So that's your
the
identity.
controller.
Yeah,
Yeah,
controller, yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, controller. That's a good one. Yeah. So basically, the way you can think about champion pool is that okay. So now we have enabled. We have a tank pick in the like this is the main idea behind champion pool. AD pick, AP pick, tank. So now we have three tank options. So this is really good because transitioning between these champions is way easier for you because they are kind of in the same identity. But what you can do after, you can kind of start adding champions into your champion pool. So you could maybe add an AD pick here. You could maybe add like an AP pick when your team needs it, stuff like that. But yep, now we have tank option, and now we have three good tank options. So this is really good. Obviously, if you do always want to play the tank, then just play the tank. I don't really care. Like I think the main thing about champion pool is just like play what you enjoy. That's like the biggest thing always about this game. Play what you enjoy and get mastery on what you enjoy. That's basically the main idea. You really want mastery in the champions.
gotcha. Yep.
But yep, we're kind of sticking to the same champion pool, so that's really good. Obviously, I don't want you to go around and like try and kind of everything. We are just kind of sticking to the same champs here, which is really good. Mm. We're sticking to the same builds as well. I mean, yeah, obviously tank champions don't have too much build variation available, but it's really good. For example, on Volibear, we always go Divine Sanctuary. I like that. So again, we get mastery on the build as well. Really good. So we actually recognize our ability way more to do stuff and how far we can push things out. Yep, nothing really
Yeah.
serious going on with the OPGG. I'm not too worried about that. Really good stuff. Small champion pool, awesome. Love that. Okay, so let's go into the game. Uh, okay, so what are we thinking about the game at this moment? You press tab, you load into the game. What are we thinking at this point? We are playing Mumu. Okay, what's going on? Top lane matchup, for example.
So unfortunately, up until this point, I really just wait till I get into the game to see the first couple of minutes of what happens. At this elo, you get so many smurfs and trolls that you don't know who's going to be really good or who's just messing around.
Mhm.
But just generally, I focus on vision, establishing control, and getting to dragon to get objectives. And then once I see some lanes either winning or losing, then I'll try to pivot. But
Okay.
um, going into it, yeah, I don't put too much thought into the matchups because right now it's just so difficult because there's so much variation between skill.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I understand that, and yeah, I don't want you to think about okay, who's gonna get the wave 3 push here. Like this is a fucking stuff for challenger and professional players. I don't need you to think about that. But what I want you to think about when you load into the game is okay, where am I most likely to get ganked, for example, or where am I most likely to succeed with my ganks? So let's say, for example, you have really strong CC setup on some lane, or you have Luxia versus Diana, stuff like that. So okay, for example, let's talk about the top matchup here. So top matchup, kayle versus checks, double melee, double TP. So basically, the way I wanted to think about is, for example, the double melee thing here. Double melee. What the double melee means on a solo lane. Uh, they they are going to they're going to trade while last hitting because they will be last hitting next to each other. So it's like too big of a temptation to not hit the enemy champion once in a while when you are last hitting your own minions. So basically, what this means for you as a jungler, okay, they are more likely to be trading. So again, I'm not thinking okay, it's 100% sure that when I go top, this kayle will be low HP. No, that's not what I mean. What I mean is okay, it's more likely that okay, the melee laners are going to trade during the laning phase. That means it's going to be easier for me to gank potentially. So basically, that's how I want you to think about the game. It's like we don't want to kind of like only like play and okay what's going on, but we kind of want to also predict what's going to happen, and we can predict what's going to happen because they're double melee. So this is one of the signs, for example, double melee. They're going to trade while last hitting. Maybe we can look for ganks. Maybe we can look for ganks because again, it's easy to gank a target who is low HP. And again, the way they go low HP is by trading. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we can think about the mid matchup here as well. Uh, for example, the big things to notice about the mid matchup, it's ranged versus melee. So this is a completely different dynamic here. So what happens with range versus melee champions is the range character usually gets to trade the melee champion for free. So this is an option where you might have a gank option or a counter gank option because the Diana is slowly getting chunked out. Uh, range character gets to free hit melee because again, while they are trading or while they are last hitting, this guy has to walk up close while Lux can stay pretty safe. Gets to free hit melee. we can we can look for gank. And again, like the way I want to gank during the early games, I want to gank the low HP targets. I want to gank the easiest targets. And the way for me to kind of like guess, okay, who's gonna be the easiest target to, or who's gonna be the easiest champ to gank is okay based on this kind of like pre-game analysis stuff. And this is really important stuff for junglers. You really want to start kind of using this and utilizing this knowledge to you as a jungler because it's gonna determine whether you how you path into the game and how we kind of get into the game. We can look to kilo HP target. Yep. Am I saying something? Can I hear you? Hello?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Yep. So the bot lane matchup, and bot lane matchup is like on the opposite of what we had on the top lane matchup. So it's a double melee. They are going to trade while last hitting. So bot lane, on the other hand, they have 4 range characters, and that's
Right.
kind of the opposite of the double melee because they can last hit the minions from so far away from the enemy champion. They are not as likely to trade. Not as likely to trade because last hitting is a lot safer from damage. Because again, they don't need to go as close to the enemy. They only need to go close to the CS. I
Gotcha.
think it's a lot safer for them. So again, what that means for me, okay, probably not expecting as much trading. But one thing to always think about when you are playing these tank junglers, these ganking junglers, uh, the bot lane is usually a really good gank for you. Because when you do CC one of these guys, you actually have 3 players here hitting the same target. So that
Right.
makes it so much easier for you to actually kill, for example, the MF if you do hit the CC. So that's really important about the bot ganks. And in general, ganking bot is pretty much always more valuable than ganking top because obviously it's double the gold. Double you get the double gold and you negate double the gold basically.
Right.
So usually tank junglers they love to path towards the bot lane, but obviously that's kind of like game dependent. But that's something you all can also think about. Okay, maybe you want to start looking towards the bot lane because again, they can really you can enable with them with your CC. That's basically what you want to do. Your champion identity is to gank enable. So you enable these guys' damage by providing the CC so they can actually hit them. So that's really important. That's what you want to do as this kind of champion. You don't want to be the one who deals the damage. You want to make sure that someone else can deal the damage for you.
Right.
And that's also what sejuani wants to do in the jungle matchup. Sejuani is also a ganking jungler. But yeah, I'm not going to go too deep into the stuff here. But yeah, I mean, obviously, you both want to do the same thing. She's a part of your champion pool here, actually. Was it Sejuani
Yeah.
as well? Yeah. So
Yep. Yep.
you
Yep.
already
So
know what the champion wants to do. He wants to like get camps and okay, maybe like get 3 camps. Okay, maybe I can look to gank somewhere, stuff like that. That's what these champions want to do. So ganking jungler uh, has a similar game plan to you. Obviously, yeah. I mean, we are not going into the game with the plan, but regardless, that's something I want you to start doing. Okay, I want to have some kind of plan when I go into the game. And again, like the way to make that plan easier is okay. Think about the matchups. Okay, for example, there's the melee. There's like a really easy thing to think about. Like okay, oh, there's 2 melee champions. They are more likely to trade. I don't need to like have a fucking master's degree in like pre-game analysis. No, that's not what I want. But yeah,
right. Right. Gotcha.
yep. Looks like Sejuani starts spot here as well. She's no leash. That's always something you want to check out for. Okay, uh, always check at the start of the game if either side leashes. So here obviously we see that the enemy bot lane leashes the Sejuani, which means we will be matching here at the top side of the map, and we may potentially see here on the scuttle. That's something we'll have to think about when we enter the scuttle. Okay, think about at the start of the game. Okay, what happened? Oh, we started at the same side. We're probably going to meet at the same side when the scuttle spawns.
Yeah, my strategy is usually around that where uh, I skip the Krugs because I want to either protect top from a gank, so I'm there for a counter gank, or I could steal the scuttle away and I have more HP because I didn't do Krugs,
Yep. Yep.
that kind of thing.
Yep. I like the first idea, but the second idea not so much. For example, here we have 30 seconds to the scuttle spawn, and we are kind of already hovering there. I mean, yeah, we are kind of denying the gank. I guess we are looking for the counter gank. I like this because, for example, we have to again think about what the Sejuani wants to do, and the best way to make ganks work is when they are low HP. Okay, this guy's already half HP, and the second thing when they are overextended the lane. So if this guy wants to get the safety, let's say we are playing Sejuani, it's really easy for us to gank this guy because he has to run all this distance back to the safety of his turret, and this is not likely
Right.
when we are able to deal so much damage. So this is why you want to gank overextended targets, like as a general rule.
Yeah, and I'm typically very good at watching minimap. So when I could see when people go to ward, even though I'm not watching them with
Awesome, yeah.
camera, I just watch their
That's really
player map.
fucking good stuff. That's awesome. And that's really something which comes with the champion mastery. Because again, the reason why champion mastery in jungle is so important is because if you're playing a new champion, let's say you're playing Kindred, you have to focus so much on like actually hitting your abilities. Okay, how much damage do I actually do this? Do I need to kite this? When do I kite this? And stuff like that. And that actually takes away from you being able to watch the game and do stuff. But yeah, now we are kind of hovering for a really long time here. So let's see. Are we going for a play? Now we do end up going
So
for
I
a
move out of the jungle here because I figured that's the point in time he'd either be on the scuttle or coming up.
yeah. So
And
usually
if
what
he
I
wanted to gank,
yeah
he would have been up there by now.
yeah exactly. So
And
usually what you can do here is you can just start walking down towards the scuttle. When the scuttle spawns actually at 3 minutes 30 seconds. So basically, if you do see Sejuani, so there's no way Sejuani gets to gank this without being seen. So one option Sejuani has, she uses Q to get over this wall. She only has one Q. It's 18-second cooldown, like 16-second cooldown. It's a really long cooldown to get over the wall, and that's gonna she's gonna get spotted by the ward. Another thing is you go to the scuttle and you are gonna see the Sejuani anyway. So again, like this guy is actually being safe from the gank because you are already here waiting for the Q to come over, or this ward is already here. So if you go back to when we actually came here to hover this, it was a really good hover up until this guy actually warded. So this is like, okay, now I can just go hit my Crocs here and I can react if the Sejuani comes here. And then we can like, because Jax is going to be able to come kind of combat back, kind of fight back, jump to the minion, stuff like that. And then that gives us time to kind of come back and loop around and come to the gank. So again, like
gotcha.
this would have been a really good hover if this ward didn't get placed. Because again, I would be expecting Sejuani to be ganking this because again, such a good gank, low HP, overextended, really is tough.
Yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
I was thinking if I'm there and Sedge was coming up, we would see it sooner, and then Jax would be willing to come down, and we could kill the sejuani and eliminate the kayle from being there, so it'd be a 2v1 and
Yeah,
have advantage on it.
yeah, that's really good. But again, I usually want to start moving towards the scuttle when the scuttle spawns. So that's when I usually
Yeah,
cut my hover shot. I don't want to hover for too long because then you get into the habit of like, oh, I'm just gonna wait for the perfect opportunity. It's never gonna come,
right.
you know. So yeah, so this is really good. We do find sejuani here. Oh, we do actually get the kill. No, we don't quite. Okay, and we do get the
Yeah,
TP
really
here.
good
That's
point.
really good. Okay, so one thing you can look out for in these kind of fights, uh, this guy's way lower HP than you. She only has blue buff. You actually have red buff, so we have the buff advantage here. So again,
Hmm.
like this guy has really low, high cooldown Q. The one mobility or one dash ability they have. So again, I would want you to kind of like, okay, maybe I can stick around. Maybe I can save my second Q. Uh, uh, Save my second Q and wait for their dash. That's like really important. Like in League, we want to be really patient with our ability use. Be more patient with Q because again, like especially with second Q, with especially second Q. Because again, we want to wait for them to use their mobility, kind of show their hand before we use ours. You know?
Yeah, for sure. I typically do. I don't know why that time I didn't.
Yep. Yep. It's fine to let them use their mobility ability before we cap close. So that's kind of the basic idea. Because we are melee champion, we need to be close. Yep. So this is really good. Yep. We are baiting. We are waiting for the Lux to come here. I think Lux gets a kill. Awesome. Yep. I think Lux gets a kill here. It's not too bad. But yeah, as I was saying about the 330, that's usually when I usually stop hovering the lane. You stop hovering lane when the scuttle spawns. So what you can do with scuttle, if you know how scuttle works, when you, for example, start hitting it from the bottom side, I think we can get some scuttle action here. So yeah, you can see you are kind of pulling it towards the bot lane here. So that's how you can do this because this guy is always going to run away from you. So you can
Right.
actually kind of direct where the scuttle is going. So for example, if you want to still hover the top lane here, we just like kind of drive the scuttle towards the top side, and then we could still be close to the gank or still be close to Jax if the sejuani does show up, stuff like that. Yep, we have a really good base blasting wand. Awesome. Nothing going on. So yeah, also one thing I want you to always do when you're playing jungle is that I don't want you to always be able to look at the lanes. Like if you watch really high elo gameplay, for example, they always click on the lane like boom 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 like Faker, for example, like it's insane. I don't want you to do that. What I want you to do is always have eyes on the minimap. And good good kind of like a moment to watch a lane, like no, okay, now I need to watch a lane, is for example when people go on top of each other, or like when you can watch these bars and like bars are starting to move. For example, here we have bot lane, like they're going on top of each other here. Like now is a good time to look at
Yeah,
the lane. This is what I want you to look out for. Always have eyes on the minimap. Really good.
yeah. I'm looking at minimap like 95% of the time. When I
Yeah.
do click on it, it's just to get the health pool of the enemy.
Yep. Or here, for example, yep. Mid lane is going on top of your logs. This is when we want to check. Good. Sejuani goes. Yep. Yep. So usually what we want to do is, as is ganking junglers as well, we had your champion pool here. Uh, we also want to play for the 6. And basically how we want to utilize the level 6. So we're going to try to type a few timers here. So level 6 timers. So this is pretty standard for all champions. Solo laners hit level 6 at 6 minutes. Uh, Junglers hit level 6 at 7 to 8 minutes usually. This game we are kind of behind on CS. Um, but yep, and the most important thing here is that bot lane hits level 6 1 minute later than us. So usually at 8 to 9 minutes. Okay, so let's look at this fight. Still pause here. So what I want you to notice here is that okay, uh, we get our ult, the really big controller ult. We are playing Sejuani, we are playing Volibear, we are playing Amumu. These guys really love their ult, and especially when you get to gank someone who doesn't have ult available yet.
Yeah,
Yeah. So basically, how I want you to think about, okay, every time you get 6, when you're playing these tank junglers, these enabled junglers, when you get level 6, always be like, okay, can I use this instantly on the bottom lane because they don't have their ults up yet. That's like a really important timer to kind of keep in mind. keep in mind as a tank jungler, especially when you're playing really ultra-line junglers.
Does that time range still apply for like the 7 to 8? So the sevens are the like the graves and nocturnes, and the eights are
Yeah. Like
like
the
the mumu
fastest level
says.
6, I'm not sure if you can actually still do it, but the fastest level 6 you can do as a jungler is like around 6 minutes when it's like a really lucky game and you're playing like Karthus, Graves, something like that, like really fast clear. But usually junglers hit level 6 around this time, 7 to 8 minutes.
Okay.
Okay. We get the kill here. Awesome. So yeah, you can see how this mid lane is already level 6, so it's kind of hard for us to... We are not able to fight this Diana, because again, we don't have ult. That's what we want to do to the enemy bot lane. But yep, nothing fancy there. We go for counter gank, we get 1 kill, we trade, good. And this is really important, another thing. Again, like the timer, 8 minutes, okay, this is around time when I do get my 6. And one more important thing, always have eyes on your XP. So here we have 1 camp of 6, so again, when I do get 6, I immediately usually want to use it. I always want to look out for immediate use of ult. Usually it's a bot lane, but since we're on the top lane of the map, maybe you can go for ult gank on the top lane here. Again, we get 6. Okay, Diana's really, Kayle is really low here. We can kill her. Awesome. So there are a few reasons why this is really good stuff. Uh, why this works. Even if the even if Jackson's die all the way here, even if Jax dies like right next to the turret. So this is what I call laner behavior 101. Laner behavior 101. What they always do, they will always uh, look to crash the wave
Yeah.
before recalling when they get a kill, when they get a solo kill. And this is exactly what we want to do as junglers. Oh, okay, Jax died. I don't want you to think about, okay, there's no way I can gank this because Jax is died. I want you to always look at the lane and be like, okay, is this guy low? Because again, they will always create the wave. They will just always do it. So this is really fucking good. This is what we want to do as junglers, and this is what we want to deny from the enemy jungler. And the way we deny that, we're probably going to talk about it a bit later in the game, but as junglers after ganks, we usually want to help our laners to shove the wave, so they are actually safe from being this Kayle here, you know. But yeah,
Yeah.
really fucking good stuff. We actually get to capitalize on him creating. Awesome. Okay, we see this is sejuani on the bottom side. Yep, pretty free to do this. Enemy top line is dead, sejuani is on the bot side. Good. So one thing you always have to do when you do see the enemy jungler, so as you said, like you look at the minimap so much, like such a big percentage of your game. I do the same. It's so important for junglers. But the one thing you have to know is that okay, you are watching the minimap all the time, but your laners aren't. The laners are too busy last hitting trading. Like they just don't have time to look at the minimap as much as you. So what you always want to do when you do see the enemy jungler on the minimap or stuff like that, always ping it out. Always ping your teammates. It's really really good habit to get into.
Yeah. I ping a lot to the point where I think too much because people just end up muting.
Yeah, okay. So what do we think about this Herald? Was this an accident anyway? Was this intentional?
Uh, no, it was intentional because Jax just got back, and even though he's low, I'm just gonna use that and get it off. So then,
Okay.
because I use yellow ward, because I in this elo, so few people ward, it's very frustrating. That I usually have to do all the warding because I pay attention
Yeah.
so much to where the enemy jungler's at, and I could usually handle that purely just on my own ward.
Yep.
So I just get rid of it right away.
Yep. Yellow Trinket is really good, and I love Yellow Trinket, especially since they buffed it and nerfed the Oracle. I really like Yellow Ward, but at some point of the game, you have to go with the Oracle because you're usually the primary user of the Oracle and your support. So you always want to have two Oracles in the team, so you can actually control the vision around the objectives. So at some point you do want to go for the Oracle anyway. But yep, early to mid game, I don't mind having Yellow Ward. I really like it, especially now. But
Yeah,
yeah, about the Herald usage, yeah, we do get the Kayle here. But one thing you always want to do with Herald, uh, we want to drop Herald when the turret is as slow as possible. So the reason why, I'm gonna explain a bit. Want to drop herald when the turret is as low as possible. This is only plated turret, so plate turret. This mechanic only applies to plated turret. So only the first herald, the plate herald. This is when it applies. So the reason why, uh, so so if you look at the resistances of this turret, so 15 armor, Then we get a plate,
Hmm.
it's gonna come back to 55, and then we have two members, so it's gonna double the amount of resistance it has. So this mechanic is in the game to make it harder for the losing laner to lose his turret so fast. So so you can see, okay, now we get a charge of the herald. Now it's 185, 270 armor. So it's really hard for us to hit this turret anymore. So this Jax is basically tickling the turret at this point. So the reason why I want to drop it as late as possible, because the Herald actually deals true damage. It doesn't care about the resistances, but we as champions, we do care about the resistances. To make sure you get the most plates as possible, we want to drop it as late as possible. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, yeah, it does. I was just thinking Jax's scaler and getting early money on him would help, and he's got to go back anyway, so you could get a bigger buy
Yep.
and just get it down to 2 plates, and you can handle it from there.
Yep.
But yeah, it does make sense, everything you said, Tim.
Yeah, I mean, this play, I like the play. I'm not, I'm not really talking about this play in specific, but that's something I don't want you to be into this habit.
In
Like,
general,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, exactly. I want you
Okay,
to think about it in your future games. Okay, is this a good herald? And usually the herald is best to be used as late as possible or as low as possible uh, on the turret. Herald is true damage, doesn't care about resistances. Yep. Sejuani comes. Good. We stop the Sejuani from ganking our Jax. Awesome. But now we need to run because everyone is coming here. Kayle's coming back. Awesome. We get away. Good stuff. Yep. So this is one moment. I'm not actually sure. What are you building first? A demonic embrace.
demonic. Yeah.
How much is that? It's like 2.1k at this point. Pretty sure we could see
Uh,
shortly. Okay.
yeah.
So it's again like another habit I kind of want you to get into. A good habit. Uh, Yep, that's really good. We are paying gold. We don't want to fight. We don't want to fight because we have so much gold. We want to spend this gold. But one habit to kind of get into is like when we have this power spike, for example, the item. When you have item power spike, always look to recall as soon as possible. Because if a fight does break out, even if you don't want it to, you're gonna be so much more. It's gonna be so much more easier, or so much easier for you to actually be able to impact the map, impact the fight, whatever. So, for example, we actually get the demonic embrace here after this push. So when we do get away from the sejuani, here I would probably just recall, so I can
Gotcha.
at least I can be on the map with the item. So if something
Okay.
bad does happen, at least I have the item. So always
Yeah.
look to recall
Yeah.
as soon as
Going
possible.
for those
Yeah,
going for those 2 camps is a bit greedy. I guess I just felt like I was in control because of how much pressure I've been putting on Sedge at this point.
yeah. But like for example, here we're kind of like pinging. Okay, we don't want to fight. We don't want. That is right because we have so much gold. We don't want to fight. But if we had the item here, we actually could look to fight because again, we have ult. We would have item. We would have flash. Like we would be really fucking strong on the map right now. You know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So obviously, that's why we always want to look to recall as soon as possible when we have item when we have item power spike. We have item power spike. Yep. The put zero as well. Yep, so again, we have ult, we have flash, we have really strong, we have item. Now I want to use my stuff. Now I usually want to get rid of my ult and uh, my ult as soon as possible at this point of the game, like 10 minutes into the game. Okay, I want to really be able to push. I want to be able to do something. I want to push my advantage here because we are in a really good position here. Okay, so we are looking for the bot play. Again, the bot play is best play. Yes, awesome. Really good patient with your abilities. This time, awesome. Really fucking good use of your abilities. So this is exactly the opposite of what we had with the top lane situation here. We are really patient with the use, with the Q here. We don't get baited by the missed Q there. This is really good. And then we go for the ult. And now you can see how we are holding the Q. We are not trying to panic with the Q. Really good stuff. Awesome. Really good
Yeah.
patience.
After 500,000 mastery, I've missed so many.
Yeah, exactly.
I
We want
know
to
to
be really
wait.
patient with the Q. Yep, and ult as well. Really good patience with abilities. Awesome. And generally, good gank. Again, good gank. Can post about here. Uh, good gank because we have flash, ult, item, and the big thing again, enemy is gankable because they are pushing the turret. The enemy is overextending. Really good. At this point of the game, I'm not too worried anymore about like, okay, are the enemies low enough for me to gank? Because again, like we have so much CC, we have so much damage, it doesn't matter even if they're full HP. We can go for the gank because they will just die if they do get caught. At the start of the game, you want to
Gotcha.
gank the low HP.
So that's interesting. I'll definitely remember that because you're saying at this point you don't care if they have high or full HP. We should still expect to get the kill. Where in my mindset up until now it's been well they should at least have 60%. If they're at 60% or lower, then I'd feel better to go at it. But
Yep. I mean, if you do look at this fight, for example, they're actually full HP here, but like the gank is still there because they are low HP. I mean, not low HP, but they are overextended here. Like, look, they are full HP. I mean, well, the MF is full HP, but like your team is actually at the health disadvantage here. But it doesn't matter. We even almost one shot this. We would have one shot the MF if this guy, for example, actually used E on the MF. But yeah, like it doesn't matter. This guy was full HP. He's just dead. It doesn't matter. At this point of the game, we offer so much damage with 3 people on top of 2 people. The HP doesn't really
yeah,
matter that much. So when the HP does matter, it's more so for the tank and kind of bruiser laners. For example, you have a Reven top or a Sion top or stuff like that. Those can still be way more difficult to kill at this point of the game, but like the usual squishies, they are really easy to kill. And again, like the way we want to play the game as a tank jungler, as an enabling jungler, we want to help the ally members to deal the damage, and we have 2 damage champions on the bot lane. So yeah, the gank is gonna work. This is so much damage and so much CC. They're just not gonna be able to get away because if they get caught. Yep. So now, what I want to think about next. Okay, so at this point of the game, at mid game, we kind of arrived to the mid game. People are kind of more thinking about the objectives. Mid game. So what I want to think about, always think about the next objective. And we always have to play for the next objective. So for example, here we have 1 minute 30 to the next objective, 1 minute 18 to our ult. So we actually want to just wait for our ult to be up and we want to fight for the Drake. So this would be a good moment to just clear all your camps here and recall and come back to the base as strong, come back to the Drake as strong as possible. That's our goal again, be as strong as possible for the objective, and then we can look for the fight. So let's say. So here I wouldn't want to gank anymore. I just want to get my camps off. I want to kill people when I'm strong. Okay, sejuani just got top. We recall. Yeah, so here's a mistake I see a lot of players do, like across all elos. So the mistake I see here is okay, 1 minute 20 to Drake. What I want you to do, I want you to clear all these camps because you still have time to clear all these camps, recall, and then you come to the Drake as strong as possible. That's a goal. Always at the mid game
gotcha.
stage. Always think about the next objective. Next objective, and arrive as strong as possible. So basically, at this point of the game, we really kind of want to start utilizing our time, or kind of like thinking more about, okay, how do we kind of min max the CS per minute and stuff like that? Because we could get all these camps, we would have 400 more gold based on these camps here, and we would still be in time to be on this objective here, and we'd be able to fight this. We would have ult, we would have stuff like that. So that's why it's important. And it's especially important at mid game. I don't want to fight before we can actually get something with. For example, I use my ult here. I want to make sure that I can get the Drake. The Drake is spawning up. I don't want to be fighting here, but the Drake is like 90 seconds from spawning up because these guys will be back, and then I won't have ult when the dragon actually spawns. So that's another thing to always consider in the mid game. Uh, every time you go for an ult play, make sure that play helps you get the objective. Because again, like we are playing for the objective in the mid game. And if you use your ult when the objective isn't up or spawning, then you won't have your ult when the objective absolutely is up. And then we are not able to fight for it, of course. Because we don't have ult, and the ult is so strong.
Right.
But yeah, this for example is a good use of ult here. Oh, we do die. Oh, we don't. Awesome. We don't actually die here. Yeah, that's really close. But yeah, I mean the idea here is good. We are using our ult, and if we do, if the play was kind of cleaner, if these guys use their ult, for example, uh, we could transition this kill or these kills on the bottom lane to get in this strike. So again, like I like this ult usage here, really good. But yeah,
I think uh, my initial plan before I went for the bot, I typically take the pink ward that I got, and where red buff is at, if you go down and to the left, there's that bush just
this
north
one,
of that second tier tower. No, the
oh, like
one
here, the
left of
Ramsey
that.
bush.
south of that. Yeah, that
Oh yeah, this one.
south. Yeah, right there. I put a
Yeah, I
pink
love
board
this
there,
pink
so
word.
it,
Yeah, I
you
love that
always
pink word.
see them doing red, and then you could see them going to
Yeah,
crud,
I love the
and
pink
that's
ward.
what I
It
used to
stays
do.
alive for so long as well. I love it. So good. But yep, usually when I start buying pinks, it's usually for the objectives here. So yeah, this is when I start buying pinks. I don't normally buy pinks during the early game. Okay, let's see. Fight. Awesome. This guy got a bit too trigger happy. He does. It's not a bad trade. We trade mid laner for support. Not a bad trade. So again, we don't have ult. We don't want to go for the bot play. Again, like we have to play. So as amumu, as sejuani, as what else was he playing? Volibear. We really want to play around the ult timer, and we really want to play around the objective timers. That's what you want to do in the mid game. Really, it's like cooldown management kind of thing. So yeah, we are really close to getting ult here. Do we get the objective? We do. Awesome. Let's see. Oh, yep. So here, for example, is kind of like the situation I was talking about. So here, I would be happy dying. My team is out of the way. They died. I don't want to use my ult here because again, like if I use my ult here, I can't go to the next objective and fight with my ult because again, like the ult is such an important resource. You want to really kind of even if you kill these guys, like then we wouldn't have ult when we meet them again on the here. So that's kind of what I want to think about. The ult is such a long cooldown. I want to get impact with it. We already got the
Yeah,
objective.
for
The game is
sure.
kind of over. So again, like think about the ult usage. It's really important at this point of the game, but the objectives are up, and people will be fighting for the objectives. Yep.
Yeah, that was just lack of paying attention to what my team was doing. I thought they would have
Yeah.
stayed, but they
Yeah, I
ran
mean, it was
away.
pretty close. They could have maybe cleaned it up, and then you could have funneled goal into your team. Would have been really good there. But yeah, so you can see now we are again like now we are 40 seconds late, and the objectives are we just want to find the objective. So again, now we are finding the objective. We don't have ult, we don't have flash. Now we are actually not that strong as a Mumu. Like we are not that strong. We are not in a good position. This is not the moment when I would be looking to what to fight, but maybe we can actually sneak this away. But again, if they do actually check up here, you're just dead. Your team is not even able to help you, even if they were full HP, because you just don't have anything. Yeah, we do actually get to sneak it away. Awesome. But again, I don't want to be too kind of think based on the results. I want to think about the probability of this play making sense. So, for example, here,
Yeah,
yeah, the reason why we don't want to go for this again, like the we don't have flash, we don't have all the really important stuff here. But also another thing, we don't have any vision here. We don't know where the enemy team even is. Like, there's only two people showing here. They could be all the way here, and we could just die here. And it's like on top of giving the herald, we would be giving ourselves and like dying and giving the gold to
yeah,
the enemy team.
yeah. It's a bad habit for sure. I'm just used to the enemy jungler just farming so much that I could
Yeah.
sneak it and take it quickly. But that's why I'm trying to prep for higher elo and getting ready for people who would counter what I'm doing.
Yep. Yep. I mean, all every time you climb higher, people are gonna punish you harder for your mistakes and stuff like that. But yeah, so the way I wanted to think about, I'm gonna pause it. This is gonna be another moment I'm gonna want to talk about. So here, yeah. But the one thing I wanted to think about every time, think about entering river. Think about entering river as an aggressive option. It's an aggressive play. That's how I put it. Every time you enter river, for example, here we jump over the Plascone. I want to think about this as uh, an aggressive play. So my own camps, they are the safe camps, and then there's the neutral camps, and then there's the enemy camps. So every time we kind of go closer towards the enemy camps, we always like the danger meter raises, rises. So
Yeah,
every time you enter river, even at the early game, like the first scuttle or the objective, the herald or the baron, always think about, oh, if I do find anyone here, who is able to help me? Look at your teammate's position and think about, okay, who is able to help me if I do find someone here? Because again, like the river is the most likely place you're gonna find someone. You know,
yeah,
if you do find someone, is anyone able to help you? Who is able to help you? And then you have to think about, okay, if it's 2v2, for example, do we win? Stuff like that. Who's able to help you? So this is a moment when we really need to start looking towards looking at our laners position, like where they are. But yeah, so this was another moment I wanted to talk about. So when we are dead. this, that we open tab here. So when we are dead, mid game, we are dead kind of a long time at 30 seconds to be dead. Nothing to do here. So what I want you to, how I want you to utilize this time when you are dead in the mid game. So we open tab here. Really good. That's what I want you to do. Okay, so we open tab. This is what I call a lull state. When you have nothing to do. Lull states, when walking out of base, for example, this is like a smaller lull state. Uh, but when dead, crazy green gaming. This is what is a lull state. And what we want to utilize, how we want to use the lull state is we want to think about the game. So we open tab and we look at the items, for example. We okay, who's the biggest threat? Who do I want to kill? What's going to happen in the team fight? This is when you think about this kind of stuff. Because this is like at the start of the game, we thought about, okay, who's most likely for me to gank? At this point of the game, we think about, okay, who do I need to kill in the team fight? Because at this time, we are arriving to the team fight phase. People are starting to team fight over the objective, stuff like that. So this is a good moment to think about the team fight, for example. So if you look at the team fight right now, what are you thinking about the game at this moment, given this information that you are now thinking about this game actively? What would you think?
I looked at well, first thought is Trish has low CS and MF is really strong, so I just think that uh, MF is a problem, and she has her items in a gold bounty. Kayle has a gold bounty. Uh, that's about it. I look at the CS and the items and the bounty.
Yep. Yep, the items are the most important thing, I'd say. So if someone, for example, has like 3 items, for example, that's the one you want to focus because that's the biggest threat to the enemy team. But another thing we can also think about in this kind of game is okay, this is kind of taking it further, but yeah, uh, we can also think about okay, how is the actual team fight gonna go? So we have a melee champion here, we have us as a diver, and then we have a lot of damage to follow up on a CC, me and the other guy off us here. So we could, for example, look to dive these backlines. We have Seraphine MF, really easy to get dove, or really easy to get MF. Let's say even MFK, Seraphine, immobile champions. Really easy to pick. Really easy to pick if we catch them. So this is also something you want to think about. Okay, we want to create a scenario where we can actually unload our damage on these backliners here because they are really easy to catch. They have absolutely zero mobility. So if they get hit by a ult, if they get hit by a Q, that's a pretty much a dead sentence. So that's another thing we can look for. Okay, they have really strong carries here. The Tristan, the MF is really strong. She doesn't have any mobility. Maybe I want to dive her. Maybe I want to kill her. Maybe I want to make sure that my teammates are able to kill her. Stuff like that. But yep. Now we have 1 minute 20 to Drake. I'm at Baron again. Yeah. So again, want to play around the objective line. Want to play around the ult timer. Stuff like that. Also, one thing here. What are you thinking about the second herald? With first herald, you obviously want the turrets or the plates. What do you think about the second herald? How do you usually use it?
At this point, since Baron's coming up, I would just hold it and see if we get Baron, and then we could make
Mhm.
a power play off of it.
Yep.
Uh,
Yep. Or this is another really good situation to be looking toward using the Baron or the Herald. I'm gonna talk about it a bit later, but yeah. So this is really good. So again, like we killed the enemy team, but the objective isn't up. So we obviously gonna take the objective. So so this is a good time to use the Herald, for example, here because that's gonna enable our push here, and it's gonna make it so much easier for us to actually push into the base. And then we can reset, and then we can go to fight the Drake here or the Baron here. And another thing I usually consider when I'm using the second herald usage, I usually want to look for to either use it with Baron, as you said, to either use it with Baron if it's a late herald. In my games, it's usually a bit earlier herald, since in my games the herald gets taken a lot earlier. But used with Baron, or what I usually want to do, what I want to do is to is is to siege side lane tier 2 turrets. The reason why I want the side lane tier 2 turrets, this one here, this one tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, the reason why I want the tier 2 turrets here, because it actually gives double the gold compared to the other turrets here. So the first tier 1 here on the mid lane, 300, 300, 300, but the side lane tier 2 is actually give 600 gold. And the mid lane gives 300 gold. Again, I want to get some of my, at this point of the game, I want to think about, okay, who do I want to funnel money into? Because I'm not the carry. I want to enable the carry again. So for example, Tristana here, maybe I would be looking towards, okay, maybe I place the Herald for this Tristana here so she can get some gold, so she can kind of close the gap between the MFCS and Tristana CS and stuff like that. But yeah, usually I want the tier 2 turrets here because this is, gives you the most gold. Current 600 gold.
Yeah, that I actually just learned last night watching another video you did for the hacker room. But
Oh,
that's
nice.
my biggest weakness is that I don't know the statistic and utility of this basic game information.
Yep.
Like I learned the other day that whoever's tanking Baron, they deal 35% less damage to Baron.
I think
Just
it's
stuff like
half. Is it
that.
35? I'm pretty sure it's half. I'm not sure actually. You might be right. But yep, they deal reduced damage. That's for sure at least.
Yeah, that might be an outdated stat. It's just I don't know of a place where I could learn and keep up on all that stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of like yeah, this game has a lot of kind of like information like that. It's just like basically the best place you could go. Honestly, is just LoL Wiki. Honestly, like this is everything. For example, you go to LoL Wiki turrets. Here you can learn all about the turrets.
Okay.
Or LoL
You do
LoL
you
Wiki
think
Herald.
that
What?
do you think that this site is always updated or
This is pretty
relatively
much always
to
updated. Yeah.
a reliable degree? Okay.
Yep. LoL
Because
Wiki is
yeah,
really
that's
good. This is actually
where
way
I read
more
it too.
reliable than the actual Riot resources they actually have themselves because this is like fans kind of update this stuff. But also
Okay,
regarding
perfect.
like other stuff, Philaris is a really good YouTuber. For example, he covers a lot of the patch rundowns and stuff like that. I really like this guy. Uh, Another one, Nathan Mott is another jungle coach, really good guy. I've been coached by him before. He also has a lot of good stuff. This is probably a more advanced side of things, I'd say. But yeah, definitely for the, like the data and the, like the small wiki kind of stuff, always it's just gonna be the LOL wiki. This is everything you need.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
But yep, let's actually look at the old usage here. So yeah, the Herald is good. I like the Herald, really good. We killed enemy, we can do this. So one thing to notice here is, okay, we go for this play. Actually, let's take it a bit back. So we killed enemies. What we do when we killed enemies, we always want to translate their deaths into the most advantages possible. So usually the way to do this is by taking the objective. Obviously, the objective is in top, so the next best thing is gonna be the turrets. It's gonna be the camps, whatever. We take whatever we can while they are dead. But the biggest thing here is to know that, okay, when they respawn, we have to leave. Because the reason
Mhm.
why we have to leave is because we don't want to go from team fight to team fight without spending our gold. Because the enemy team has actually spent their gold. Because they just died. They
Right.
had no other option but to spend their gold. And because we are actually pushing in the database, they're gonna be closer to us than we are from base. I don't know how to word that, but you get the idea. They're gonna be here really
Yes.
fast.
Yeah.
So we have to leave the moment these guys spawn. That's like the basic idea. Uh, but yeah, like this is really good. Up until we actually overcommit on the sejuani, it's really fucking awesome. Uh, 950, 1950, uh, really good. Look to always translate enemy death, death timers into as big advantage as possible. But make sure uh, we don't go from team fight to team fight. That's like such a, and that's so relevant for your elo as well. Like people do this all the time. People do this all the time up until like masters elo. Honestly, like this is go from team fight to team fight. This is track on the player. Like, oh, we are so strong, we can do anything. That's how you throw games. That's the
Yeah.
easiest way to throw games because you are fighting with so much gold in your pocket. The gold doesn't matter because you haven't spent it. But make sure to we don't go from team fight to team fight because enemy has spent their gold. Enemy has spent their gold while we have a lot. So, for example, if you do die here, the enemy has such a easy transition from going from mid to the Baron. And that's obviously what we don't want. So we die here, for example. And yeah, the enemy could just be going for the Baron here right now. Obviously, Sejuani is dead, so probably they don't want to do that. But especially when you start climbing higher, people are going to utilize these kind of things so much better. So at the high elo, for example, if you're looking forward to, for example, your goal is Diamond. In Diamond elo, you will absolutely lose Baron over this, and you might even lose the game. going from team fight to team fight. And this is solely on you because we go in here, we're like, okay, let's fucking kill this guy, let's go. And then we kind of bait our team into this position as well. And now the enemy team is actually coming out of base already. They have spent their gold. It's like, it's really horrendous stuff here. So this is the biggest game
Yeah.
making mistake I can find in this game so far, honestly. Before this, it's been pretty good. But yeah, this is definitely a pretty big tip, pretty big mistake to make. But yep, also a pretty easy fix to make. Just look at the death timers. Okay, I don't want to fight them again when they come out of base. They have spent their gold. We haven't. Yep. So we do actually lose the Baron here, I think. No,
So
we don't. Okay.
in in Diamond, do you think that they would be able to take Baron without their jungler, or that they would?
Yep, they would. They definitely would be taking Baron here because the other thing they also see is the Tristana is being bought. The only people able to defend the Baron is the Lux here and the Jax, and it's like
Sure.
4v2 basically. Yes, they're
Yeah.
gonna take the Baron. So
Okay.
obviously it's kind of flipped. Like there's always the chance of like, okay, Luck can maybe look for Hail Mary ult or stuff like that. But again, like when you're playing against better players, dominant players, they establish the vision here before going for this, and they can zone out the Lux from ever
Yeah.
even attempting stuff like that. But yeah, obviously we have to be really careful of dying around the Baron spawn as well. Like that's another big thing here. We have to be really careful dying at 20 minutes Baron spawn. Because again, Baron is the objective which loses you or wins you games. It's gonna help you so much generate gold. You get the automatic push. Everyone gets a lot of XP and gold for killing it. It's the best objective in the game, like hands down. Obviously, Elder Drake is another big one. But yeah, at 20 minutes, there's no Elder Drake. Never. There's always only Baron. Also, this is not a really. This can be a really bad decision if you do go for this. Okay, we don't. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it in a bit. First, watch out with this. Can we die? Yep, nothing we can do. So again, like the same thing as I talked about, we want to be really careful uh, dying at around 20 minutes. So for example here, again, we are entering river. Okay, this is an aggressive move. You probably find people here because it's objective. And people fight for the objective at like mid to late game
Yeah.
because that's the way to win the game. So when we go here, again, we have to think about, okay, who is able to help us? Okay, Jax is here. Yeah, it's gonna be like a 2v5. So it's not likely that we are 2v4 since Kayle is here. But yeah, like we have to always think about, okay, who is able to help us when we do walk here? And again, be really careful of dying at 20 minutes because if you do go here and die, even if you are not playing Diamond Elo, they are gonna take the Baron. Because now again, you are dead as the smite, you are the smiter, you are the jungler, they're like, oh, the jungler is dead, let's go do Baron. So stuff like that. So never go for this kind of like Hail Mary steal at 20 minutes. It's
Yeah.
it's such a common thing to do as well. Like people love to go for the I want to steal, I want to steal, I want to steal this. I'm gonna smite fight it, and then they get the Drake. They get the Drake if they hit the smite, but they die, and the enemy gets Baron, and you just lose the game. So you don't want to do this
Yeah.
ever. It's such a common and bad mistake to make. But yep, really good. We don't feed into the madness going on there. Really good. Let's see. Yeah, no, then we start to take Baron. Yeah, so this is a moment when you can look for the Hail Mary steal, but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's not possible. So even here, like we are not playing Diamond Elo, we are playing Gold Elo, and you can see how the enemies are already zoning you out. You don't have to be in Diamond Elo to get punished for your mistakes. It's gonna happen in every Elo. So here we can actually see that really well. They have the vision. They have people zoning you out here. They're denying you the steal possibility even. Really good here that we actually get punished for it. Or the Jax gets punished for it. But we don't want to be the Jax. We don't want to be the guy jumping in the 5 below 20 minutes. Because that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So basically the enemy team is now making the mistake I told you not to do earlier. They are coming from team fight to team fight. So another really big thing you want to do, if we are talking about the enemy team here, you always want to recall. We just got 2 objectives, we killed a lot of people, we got Baron. Jesus Christ, just recall. These guys have so much gold.
Right.
Again, like this is when they can throw the game. This is your kind of chance here to come back in the game if they do kind of like go into another team fight when Tristan comes back here. Let's see, they actually do recall. Good for them, bad for you. Okay, let's see. So again, at this point, okay, now there's no objectives up. Again, we just want to kind of play around the objective timers. Okay, Maybe we can look for play here. So this is really good. So as I was kind of coming to the point here. So when there's no objectives up, what I would like to do, I like to create myself like mini objectives. Uh, there's no objective. So that means you are never kind of like completely lost in the game. So this is especially for mid game and like when both objectives are down, especially like this is nothing to fight for. And if you do use ult here, for example, as earlier started talked about, I don't want to use ult before I can actually get something out of it. But here, the objectives are so far away from spawning, we can actually use our ult that the ult will be back up. So again, like the ult cooldown management is really important. But yep, when there's no objectives,
Yeah.
I like to come up with mini objectives. So again, like the reason why I do kind of like come up with these mini objectives is so I don't fall into the okay, I guess we just go ARAM, you know, because obviously the
Right.
ARAM is
Right.
really bad. So the mini objective, what they can be, for example, an invade can be a mini objective. For example, as we go here, an invade. Uh, so the reason why I want you to go for this play is because the enemies are like here's one guy's dead. So we have the numbers on the map. So we still want to utilize it even though they have the Baron. So this is really good. We are going into the jungle. We are making an aggressive play. We have the teammates coming up here. This is really good. This is awesome. This is what we want to do. This is what is a mini objective. Basically, we want to in general in league. Let's say general philosophy in league. General philosophy. Always always try to take the unfair fight for the enemy team, of course. The basic idea is we
Right.
always want to take the unfair fight, and the easiest way to achieve an unfair fight is to fight with numbers advantage. So when we have more players than they do, so this is going to be pretty hard for these guys to kill U3 when it's like 3v2, you know, stuff like this. So this is an unfair fight for the enemy team, or for basically for you, because you have the numbers here. So this is really good. This is really fucking good. I love this. So again, dead timers. We want to utilize the dead timers. We want to make as much gold as possible. Ooh, there's some turrets here. Turrets can also be a mini objective. So back to the mini objective then. An invade can be a mini objective. Turret, especially with herald, for example, can be a mini objective. Stuff like that. So this is like always kind of have
Okay.
a plan. Or even hitting your own camps can be a mini objective. Can be a mini objective. Because again, like we kind of want to avoid going into those situations we had in the top lane, like we are just sitting in the brush there, we're not doing anything. We want to avoid that happening, generally speaking.
Right.
But yep. So again, now I don't want to use my ult because now the objective arm is actually getting closer, and again, now I want to make sure okay, I actually get the objective with my ult. So another again, like really important to think about. I'm not sure if you are thinking about it, but that's something I always want you to think about when arriving into this like team fighting phase, late game. Okay. Okay, do we get a pick here? Awesome, good stuff. Do we get another? Okay, flash, flash, good. Behind the fourth. Awesome. So yep. So as you can see, we don't actually get the objective because the time is not as long. But what we can do is we can establish this vision, and it's really good we actually held up to the ult because now the enemies has to face check some of this. And look at our team comp. Like there's no way they get to face check us and leave. This is really good. We actually came back from losing Baron to actually being in control of the game. Really good. We target swap when we actually drive the sejuani trade off of our backline, and then we go actually dive the backline ourselves. This is really good. Let's go back. So the basic idea behind team fighting and fighting in general in League, you want to hit the target your team is able to hit. So it's really fucking good that we recognize okay, there's no way we are killing this sejuani, and we actually kind of zone her away. And then we can go hit the targets our team is already hitting. This is really important. Always in League, hit the target your team is able to hit. That's something which can change if you're playing an assassin jungler, but in general still, uh, always look to hit the target. To hit the target, your team is able to hit. Alright. Yep. Yep. Good. Dead timers again. Objective. Awesome. Again, translate the dead timers into the biggest advantages possible. Yep. It's gonna be the trade. Good. So again, next objective. Always think about the objective. And the Baron is usually the main objective you want to think about. So yep, now is a good time. Just make some more money. push some waves. Again, the Baron is up only in 1 minute. We have time to do whatever here. Yep. So again, kind of the similar thing as I talked about earlier. We have kind of time to be hitting these camps. Again, like I want to be as strong as possible for the Baron fight. Always think about the Baron fight. Always think about the Baron fight. How to arrive as strong as possible.
Yeah, up till this point, I've always uh, planned enough time to get to the objective to go a little bit further to put
Yep.
vision out. So then
Yep.
that way I could either see if we can get a pick, or if they're just not even coming, we could just
Yeah.
start taking it.
Okay. Yeah. Actually, one
But
a
but with
more important thing here. Actually, I'm just gonna take this away because the more important thing here is that I just had a review with a silver player who I talked about with this as well. Like he was getting lost because he was kind of feeling out of control with his teammates. Like I wasn't anywhere where my teammates was. So this really one really good thing here is that we are actually recall. Look how our team is recalling. So
mhm,
we just won a team fight. We took some turrets. We took a Drake. We recall really good. And what you want to do at this point of the game, we want to be in sync with our team. We kind of want to be ready to come out of the base and off to the map at the same time as our team, so we are actually able to react if they do go for a fight or if they are ready to fight. So basically, we don't want to go around and pushing this for too long, or pushing this for too long, because that kind of leaves my team a chance to kind of like go for a fight and just like take a fight because
for
whatever, why
sure.
the fuck not, so that's why you want to be with your team at this time, especially at the late to mid game, or especially mid to late game. Mid to late game, try to be in sync with your team. That's actually a really good point. I was wrong about wanting to hit these caps. I don't want to hit these caps. Really, really good, good thing to point out here. We want to be in sync with our team. Try to be in sync with your team. So again, I'm not
Yeah,
sure if you,
but
for example, if you've ever played Overwatch, for example. But in Overwatch, people talk about staggering a lot, and that's literally the same as in League. If you kind of like stay around here for too long, and then you recall, your team is already like all the way here, like they're ready to fight, they're ready to go, and you're like base, no,
yeah,
no, no, wait, 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 like they're just gonna eat their ass off, man. It's just gonna happen. So the way we want to make sure that doesn't happen, we want to recall with our team, want to be in sync with our team. Really good stuff.
for sure.
Yep.
And I, I believe my main logic there was to get the wave pushing their direction, because we're going to go for Baron. If we win Baron, then we
Hmm.
could easily translate that bottom build up into
Really fucking good.
an hit or win.
Really advanced stuff here. I love that. So the way you want to, I don't want to go too in depth into this kind of neglected lane, but this is a neglected lane because the relevant lanes are going to be mid and top here, because the objective is obviously going to be top. So the way you can kind of like automatically push out these waves, the waves which no one is going to touch, is you push it over the river. So this is exactly what we do. We push it over the river. It's going to start pushing out anyway, because the waves are actually going to be this strong at this point. There's no turrets to defend, so the normal laning phase mechanics don't apply at this point of the game. So this is really good. This is really fucking good stuff. Awesome that you thought about that. Awesome, fucking good. I love that. But yep. So if you look at the wave now, yeah, it's really easy for us to utilize the push later on if you do get the Baron. Now actually someone has to respond. So this is another thing. People have to respond to the build up wave. And this gives us freedom to establish vision, take the Baron, whatever. Really good stuff here. I love that. That's amazing, honestly. But yep, yep. And now our team actually made a play on the top side. Enemies trying to push out the mid wave. Yep. So this is talking about the relevant lanes. Mid lane is one lane you always want to have pushed out, always, because it's the easiest lane to kind of go into and kind of start pushing out the wave. And another thing is that this mid lane push actually nice and gives grants you a lot of vision. The
Yeah,
reason why you want to always push out the mid wave, this is something you also see a lot in pro play. They don't fight over the Drake, the Baron. They fight over the mid wave here. So that's something you also see. The reason why is because this is going to deny people into walking into this brush. And if you do walk there and the enemy team already was there, like this chance they are trapping you, or they already taken the Baron. So stuff like that. Exactly as the enemy does. They just go into a question mark mode. And now it's really risky for you to actually go and do stuff. But yep, yep. So here I would worry more about hovering this mid lane than kind of being around in this brush. So that's something you have to think about. Mid game or late game. Late game mid wave is really important. Mid game,
yeah,
because again, it's going to deny access to the objective. But yep, now again, we want to be in sync with our team. We want to be ready to rumble with our team. Very good. Yep, now we are walking up. It's really, really good. Again, like we are 5-man team. We are walking the river. This is perfect. This is really good. So again, like we talked about, okay, entering river is an aggressive option. Who is able to help me if I fight someone? Literally everyone. This is this is a really good position to be in. I love this. Really good. This is what we want to do all the time. Okay, we get a huge flank here. Awesome. And the Czechs lives with us. So this is what I talked about. Okay, we want to kind of envision the team file. What we want to do. We want to stop the MF. You said you want to stop the MF. This is really good. We stopped the MF. And our team is able to pick it up because we just didn't let the Fed member to do anything. Really fucking good play here. We can actually look a bit further into this. This is really good play. Slow it down a bit. So yeah, again, the enemy team wants to kind of do the same. As we talked about, sejuani kind of wants to do the same as you. They want to dive your backline, and you want to stop that, or you want to dive their backline. This is really good. This ult is such a good control ult. Awesome, fucking awesome. You just, yeah, like this guy's really good. Sejuani had really good engage here, but doesn't do anything because we are actually able to counter that engage with our pathing here. And then we stop the ult there, flash. Yeah, really good. So again, like I'm not too worried about my team. Like, oh no, are they gonna die? Like we already zoned out the most fit member here. So this is something I want you to think about during the last stage. Okay, who do I need to zone out? Who do I need to focus in my fight? How do I need to use my abilities? This is really good. This is basically perfect use of abilities in this fight. I really love this. Really good stuff.
And I wasn't necessarily thinking about a flank. I was mostly
Yeah,
trying to
yeah,
get
we were
that forward
reacting. Yeah,
below
we were
blue.
reacting to the play here. Yeah, but definitely, like the idea is still there. Okay, they dove. What do I need to do? I need to stop the dive from happening. So
Yeah,
I go for the backline. I stop them. Really fucking good stuff. Perfect use of abilities. Really good. That's what you want to. That's how you want to look in all of your team fights. Ideally, of course, not
yeah.
necessarily. It's not realistic, but that's practically perfect use of abilities there. Really fucking awesome stuff. But yep, now waiting about the next objective again. Is this gonna be a soul point for us? I don't think it is. Is it 30 minutes in the game? However,
No, this was probably one of my slowest at getting dragons.
okay. Yep. The
I've been
easiest way
trying
also
to,
to kind of like get the early trades going on is to be ganking bot lane because again the bot lane is going to be able to help you with the trades there. If your bot lane is winning, it's so much easier for you to take trades. So this positioning, I
yeah.
don't like it too much. So we can kind of let's see actually after Baron, what do you do? We're going to talk about the being in sync with your team. So you see these two guys kind of are staggering you around. Tristana not so much. Tristana just took wolves and came back. So you can see how like here the being in sync really starts like being impactful. So you can see how you guys all end up all the way on the trade here. And the Jax is only now recalling. I'm not sure if this Jax
Yeah,
actually has TP, but you don't want to beat the Jax because you as a jungler you don't have TP. So you kind of want to
right.
be in sync with your team, especially after Baron. Just kind of recall with your team. It's really good we did, but that's something you always want to do. With Baron, after Baron, recall recall with the team. So for example, if a fight does break out here, because these guys always get too happy, like, oh, we are all the way here, like, let's go, let's play some
Yeah,
boards, and then they get caught, and then you lose the game again. Like, it's always a throw. So that's why you need to be kind of like 5v5, walking in the jungle at this point of the game. Again, like entering river, aggressive move. Think about it. Yeah, but here, okay, so here again, we are in the enemy territory. We are not even the river anymore. We are past river. We are being really aggressive here. So again, we have to think, okay, where are my teammates? Are they able to help me if I find people here? No one is able to help you. So I don't want to be here.
yeah.
Yep, now our team's kind of coming up towards us. Really good. We find a ward there. Some more wards. Let's see the team fight as well. But yeah, so this is really good. We are connecting back to our team. Yeah, we don't want to get caught out here. Even if we are full tank amumu, we still die at 30 minutes in the game when we run into a 1v5. There's a there's a pretty good flash. I like the flash. Sejuani just or Seraphine just happened to flash away. Oh my god, that's a huge ult by the Lux. Yeah, I think you win the game of this, do you? Yeah. Yep. Let's actually look at it
Yeah,
one
they
more time. I want to see.
surrender after that.
Yeah. So again, I don't really like. I do kind of like the ult because the Kayle was here. But if it was only Seraphine, I didn't like the ult. But the Kayle was here as well. So
Gotcha.
again, like we want to target the backline. We want to stop the backline. So again, like our team can follow up with the massive damage, with the massive CC even from Lux and uh, Lux, Zyra, Jax as well. Just always make sure your team is able to hit the targets you are hitting and stuff like that. But yep, really good stuff. Really good game here. But yeah, for the biggest learning objective I would give you, main learning objective. So this is something I want you to focus on in your future games. First of all, first of all, so one, have a plan going in the game. Like kind of start come into a game with a plan. Come into games with plan. Like always, just like start thinking about it. This is such an important skill for jungle. I actually kind of like emphasis this emphasis. How do you say it? Whatever. You know what I mean.
Hmm.
Emphasis. I don't know this word. I cannot do this enough to pre-game analysis. This is so important for junglers. It's literally
Yeah.
elevated my gameplay from being a master stacker to a challenger player, and it's something you always want to do, even if like even at the starting level, you still want to start using this. I was always thinking about, okay, what do I want to do? What is the enemy jungler I want to do, for example, stuff like that. So start thinking about that. Coming to games with plan. What else was here? Uh, Yeah, so again like more thinking stuff. I would say using the lull states, walking out of base, while a gray screen, press tab, think about okay, what do I want to do? Use
Yeah.
that time to think about the game. Press tab, see who you want to kill, who you want to kill, or stuff like that. Whatever you know what I'm talking about, as we talked about it earlier. Um, it was really good. We actually executed not dying at 20 minutes really well. But yeah, also the biggest game losing mistake was here at 90 minutes. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, this was the biggest mistake we did the entire game. Almost cost us the game. If this was a diamond game, we could have probably lost the game here. This is really big draw here. So yeah, the biggest thing here would be yep, utilize enemy dead timers. So again, we want to utilize our dead timer to think about the game, and when the enemies dead, we want to utilize their dead timers by taking their stuff and making the biggest advantage as possible. Utilize enemy dead timers by creating biggest advantage possible, but be really scared. Be really scared of fighting them twice because again, like they spent their gold, you haven't spent your gold. It's not a good fight. And again, like 20 minute mark as well. 20-minute mark. Be really afraid of dying. Death
Right.
death gives Baron really easily at 20 minutes, and Baron wins you games. Stuff like that. But yep, those would be my three main things I want you to kind of like keep working on in your future games. Kind of like these things. Always like think about like kind of a lot of planning here, but there's a lot of the role. It's just planning. It's a macro role. Jungle is a macro role definitely. We have to plan a lot. We have to think a lot, and that's what I want you to start doing even more so. And that's gonna elevate you gameplay definitely. But yep, that's pretty much
Perfect.
all for the review. Do you have any questions?
Uh, no, I'll definitely look at those two references uh, that you mentioned earlier,
Yep.
because yeah, I just think it's the matchups and just the details of the game, like everything that we've covered. It's definitely good to hear, and like I'll drill down on some more of the execution of it and trying to remember all that in the game. But I feel like my biggest weakness is just the knowledge of facts of, you know, how many seconds does the CC last, or what runes do you use, or
Yeah.
little tricks and stuff. That's the kind of stuff that I'm looking for resources.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, definitely, this LoL literally has everything. And then you have, I think, LoL champions. Uh, yeah, I mean, the League of Legends side is so shit. Let's just look at the Momo here, for example. Like, look at this. I cannot even see the cooldowns here. So this is why I love to use LoL Wiki, for example. We just go LoL Wiki, amumu, and then we can see everything we need to see about the champion, for example. And we can see stuff like, oh, how much damage he has, how hard he scales. All the cooldowns are here. Awesome. Like, this is where you want to go. LoL Wiki is so good. And for junglers, Nathan Mod, Philabris for like educational YouTube content. These guys are the main guys of League of Legends educational jungling. But yep,
Perfect.
So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send you these notes right now, and then I'm gonna upload this photo to YouTube. And what I want you to do, I want you to watch it over maybe a few times even, because it's a lot of information. It's like boom, boom, boom. Like we talk about a lot of shit here. That's a kind of beamline information for you for an hour straight. So to make sure something actually sticks, just like watch it over a few times, or at least once again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna take a look at that.
Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I wish you luck on your journey, and I hope you climb. I really do.
Yeah, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate that. Uh, you're going out of your way to help other people, and I respect that a lot. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for bringing the review as well. Awesome. Well, I'm gonna go then. So see you later.
Yeah, have a good day.
Yep.
Bye.
You too.